You are the first of the gods, the primal person, the supreme resting place of the world. You are the knower and that which is to be known and the supreme goal. And by you is this universe pervaded, O you of infinite form. Arjun first addresses Shri Krishna as Adidev, the first of the gods. Then Arjun describes the Supreme Soul as Purana Purusha. Puran means eternal, and that which is old yet it is not stale, and that which is old and yet it is not outdated. Puran api nutanam pura api navam tat puranam. This can be called Puran. This is something that is old yet it is new. The Supreme Soul is Purana Purusha, the primal person. Arjun then addresses the Supreme Soul as the supreme resting place of the world. Arjun describes the Supreme Soul as wise and also the knower. At the same time, the Supreme Soul is that which is to be known. The Supreme Soul is knowledgeable and the knowable. The Lord is even this. The Lord is also the supreme goal. Arjun then addresses the Supreme Soul as of infinite form and says that by this Supreme Soul is the universe pervaded. The Supreme Soul is in each and every atom of this world. The Supreme Soul is in each and every place. The Supreme Soul is even in this world. And this means that because we are in the world, we are also in the Supreme Soul. There's a very famous poet devotee by the name of Dadi Sahib, around 300 or 400 years ago. He's written a very nice doho, which means a poem composing of 4 lines. Jat hamari Brahma hai, mat pita hai Ram, gira hamara sunye mein, anhad mein Vishram. Our type is Brahman, our mother and father is Ram, our house is in the void, there is only peace in the limitless and infinite. We have so many different types of communities such as Varniks, Brahmins, Patels, Lohanas, high ones and low ones, but we have only created these types in order to fight with each other. Dadi Sahib says that our type is Brahman. Ultimately, we are all Brahman. Our type is Brahman. People have become our own mothers and fathers within the limits of the body, but ultimately, we are our own mothers and our own fathers. Who are our mothers and our fathers? It is Ram. It is God. Our house is in a void, and by void, it does not mean emptiness. When complete totality comes, only does voidness develop. That is what it is. There is only peace in the limitless and infinite that is the refuge of the Supreme Soul. This is what Dadi Sahib has said. Arjun is saying that, Lord, the whole world is bowing down to you. Arjun uses the word namaskar, bowing down, which is a feeling of surrender. Dharma teaches us to bow down. While there is still egotism in the human being, then the head of the human being does not bow down. And while the head does not bow down, then that person cannot be called dharmic. Arjun is saying that, Lord, while living in the world, the human being will have the moment at one time or other where the human being will have to bow down the head to you. Lord, this is because all these qualities are in you. They will have to bow down. When we bow down to someone, then there are so many things in this. First of all, when we bow down to them, then the first thing that comes is that we have a feeling of gratitude towards that which we have got. When we bow down anywhere, then this means that whatever we have got for you, you are the debtor to us for it. The feeling of gratitude becomes manifest. This is the first consequence to and also the quality of someone who bows down. Secondly, when we bow down, then the feeling of gratitude of course comes towards that which we've bowed down to, but together with that, the possibility arises of getting more of that thing and being showered with that thing. If you have attained something from someone once and you do not bow down to them, because bowing down is a kind of thanksgiving and yet you do not do this, and you just carry on walking, then there is a doubt about the possibility of you attaining that thing again. But once you have got that thing, you've attained that thing, and the feeling of gratitude arises, and you bow down, then the possibility of you getting more the second time arises. Arjun is for the first time entering into the limitless while he is getting a vision of the Vishwarup, the universal form. He has bowed down to Shri Krishna many times, but this is bowing down at the moment where he is having a vision of the endlessness of the Vishwarup, the universal form, which has resulted in Arjun becoming humble as a consequence. He is preparing to attain even more, and that is why he is bowing down, and that is why he is folding his hands to God. That is why the Bhakti Yoga, the yoga devotion that the Supreme Soul describes in the next and 12th chapter, is a consequence of this. If Arjun saw the Vishwarup, the universal form, and ran away in fear, then the Gita would not have gone much further. But after this happening, Arjun bows down to the Lord. If I were to go even further, then I would say that Arjun is bowing down even though he does not understand. One needs a lot of courage for this. If one bows down after understanding, then you can say he had no other choice, or his conscience bites that I have attained so much for him and I'm sensitive, and therefore I have a sense of gratitude towards him. That is why I'll bow down to him. But if one yet has not understood and still bows down, then his humility becomes manifest. Of course, poets say that naman naman me fair hai, bod named nadan. There is a difference in bowing down. A lot of ignorant people also bow down. There's a saying in Gujarat that namyo e gamyo. He who bows down is liked. It is certain that a merchant must have given this quote. A lot of people come with bulls and bang their drums. Then they start speaking and only they know what they're talking about. We do not know what they're talking about. When they bang their drums, then the bull starts bowing down. But a lot of people have the habit that wherever they go, they just bow down. They bow down out of temptation and they bow down out of helplessness. There is not much meaning in bowing down like this. There is not much meaning in bowing down out of helplessness. People call these salesmen Vanya Munchini. Let us leave talking about them. They have a business and there is nothing we're saying against this, but this is not the bowing down that we're talking about here. What type of bowing down is this? This is a mystic bowing down. This is a bowing down at something which is secret. One can see something that is effective, but one does not understand what it is that is effective, but one is not so arrogant that he would not bow down because he does not understand. There is something there, and he feels as if there is something there. If he bows down, then maybe he will attain it. That is why he is bowing down. Can all the people on the path of spirituality understand the truth of God? No. Not only some people, but no people can understand the truth of God. Who will be able to understand God from beginning to the end? And in reality, the Supreme Soul is He about whom, no matter what you learn, there will always be something missing, something not in your wisdom, and something you do not know about Him. That is why He is the Supreme Soul. I'll say in simple language that if people cannot even understand the human being in his or her totality, then how can they know the Supreme Soul in his totality? Ask those who are sitting here having been married. 40 or 50 years have gone and yet they still do not know or understand what their spouse will do at what time. If one cannot understand one person despite being in their proximity for such a long time, then how can they understand the supreme truth? How can they understand this? And if I were to say it in a spiritual meaning, then when you know someone completely in their totality, then you become greater than them. This is because the other person has become small and within your grasp. He is within the grasp of your intellect, your mind and your senses. If you know about a person completely in his totality, then you become greater than that person. Nobody can ever be greater than God, and therefore nobody can ever know about God in his totality. You can certainly make efforts, and the more you know about God, then the more bliss you will get. And at the same time, that which you do not know will keep opening, and there is bliss even in this. One should not give up these efforts. The whole of mysticism that has arisen completely depends on this. This is the support of mysticism. The person is making so much effort to understand the Supreme Soul, and the Supreme Soul keeps going further and further away. It is the game of the Supreme Soul in playing hide and seek. Young children like playing hide and seek so much, the devotee gets as much bliss in searching for the Supreme Soul. Arjun bowed down to the Supreme Soul. Bowing down is a very big thing. If something is the destruction of egotism, then that is bowing down. Arjun has given 6 reasons why the world should bow down to the Supreme Soul in the last verse, and he gets the other 7 reasons in this verse. The 7th reason is that the Supreme Soul is Adidev, the first of the gods. Srimad Adi Shankaracharya writes that Arjun is saying to Shri Krishna that Adideva Jagata Shrush Bhutvat. You are the primal Lord, being the creator of the universe. 8th, Arjun addresses Shri Krishna as Purana Purusha, the primal person. This can also mean the ancient spirit. Purushena Purusha. Purana means ancient and everlasting. Chirantanta. 9th, Arjun then calls Shri Krishna the supreme resting place of the universe. Arjun is telling the Lord that the world only gets rest in the Lord and nowhere else. 10th, Arjun addresses the Supreme Soul as a knower and that which is to be known. We read and listen to the Vedas, the scriptures, the Upanishads, and the discourses of wise people, saints, and great souls, and because of these, and everything else we do, so that we can learn the Lord. The Supreme Soul is a knower because the ultimate seed of all these things is to know the Supreme Soul. 11. Arjuna addresses the Supreme Soul as a Param Dham, the Supreme Goal. God is the Supreme Goal. What is Param Dham, the Supreme Goal? Param Dham, the Supreme Goal, is defined very nicely in the 15th chapter of the Gita. In the 6th verse of the 15th chapter, Shri Krishna says, Yad gatva nivirpartante tadhama paramam mama. That is my supreme abode from which those who reach it never return. What is the Param Dham, the Supreme Goal? It is the supreme abode from those who reach it, from which those who reach it never return. That is what is called Param Dham, the Supreme Goal. We have so many different goals in our lives. A person living in a 10 by 10 house calls this his house and sees a bungalow opposite which he calls his goal. He goes to the office and he says that this chair is his goal. All of these things are goals. A place of residence is a goal, but this can only be called a dham, a goal, and it cannot be called a param dham, the supreme goal. The reason for this is that in all of these places where the person is going, he has to come out of them at one time or the other. Is there a place where after going, one never has to return from there again? This is his true goal. Devotees always say to God that, Lord, I have created a lot of goals for myself in the world, but you are the supreme goal where after going to, one never has to return from there again. The poet Kala says, Chute jag mein dil lachar ke, asal vatan kyu chhod diya, tune ram smar kyu chhod diya. By making your heart run after this false world, why have you left your true home? Why have you left the remembrance of Ram? Dham also means home. Whatever we call houses in this world are not in reality our houses. When we have gone out to travel and have stayed in a hotel, and the checkout time is 12 p.m., we want to go ahead, so we wake up at 6 a.m. in the morning and run around. Has anybody paid money to reception before or after 12 p.m.? 10 people easily leave such a nice hotel. No matter if people have paid money, not paid money until 12 p.m., it is only when they want to move ahead that they will leave at 6 a.m. in the morning, no matter if their money for 6 hours goes away, because their journey ahead is more important. And if I were to write it in another meaning, then if you have stayed in the nicest hotel of all, which is a 5-star hotel, and it is the utmost luxurious hotel, then when you have come back home after 15 or 20 days, then no matter if you live in a 1-bedroom, kitchen, a hall flat, and you have a chair made up of torn upholstery, and you feel like, I have come home. The hotel was so luxurious, so nice, and had everything, but there was no peace there. It is because they would only keep you while you kept paying money, and when the money ran out, then the person would come and tell you to pay more money, otherwise you have to get out. This is your house, and nobody will ever throw you out of that house. Of course, we can say on the limits that they may not throw you on the house, but after a time, they'll take you out of the 4 walls of the house, and not only that, they'll take you out, but if they touch you, then they'll have to bath. This is what they'll do. If they have to keep you for 2 days, then they'll have to think, will I have to sit next to him for two days? Our elder son is abroad, and we have to call him back, but we cannot find a booking, and it will take some time to come back. They'll give blocks of ice and injection to make this elder go to sleep, and one will have to go outside the house. When Guruji was giving a discourse in Bangalore, then he got to find out about a very odd custom. This is in practice in some communities in Bangalore and also in Karnataka. It is believed that if someone passes away in a house, then they do not live in that house for 6 months. They have to keep the house empty for 6 months, and after 6 months, they have to hold a sacrifice and a ceremony at the house, and only then will they be able to live in the house. This is a rule and a convention there. By rule, I do not mean that it is religion, it is just a custom that has crept in over there. What they do is that when an elder is approaching the age of 80, 85 or 90, and it feels as if their last moments are coming, then the whole family of sons and daughters come together and they say that they will not live much longer. Therefore the sons pick up the elder's bed and put it outside the house. Think about how that individual must feel. His or her death has not yet come, and therefore they still have life in them. They must have some understanding, and they feel that, my own children for whom I have sweated, toiled and worked hard to create this house, the same children of mine have just assumed that I will go. This is because nobody asks to die even when they're at the end of their lives. They still feel that they will live for a bit longer, And if they're able to pull off 2 to 4 years, then it won't matter. Everybody feels like this. And how does that individual feel that my own descendants and my own children are picking up the bed and putting me outside the house? After thinking for a bit more, I felt that this person does not have much of reason to feel bad about this. This is because when he was young, then he must have put his own father's bed outside the house. Therefore, he must be thinking that now my time has come. It is such an inhumane custom if you look at it one way. The very own son of the father is putting the father's bed outside the house. And what is the reason why the son is putting the bed outside the house? It is because he is thinking that how would we be able to find a house to rent for 6 months, and how would we be able to perform these sacrifices and ceremonies for 6 months, so that we do not have to do this. Let us take the bed outside the house. This shows their mental attitude that that which the person considers as his own house, his own people will pick up his bed and put it outside the house. Can one call this a house? How much is our value in this house? I mentioned earlier in this chapter what Srimad Adi Shankaracharya said, that Yavad Vita Parancha Shakta Tavat Parcho Ratra Paschat Davati Charchar Dehe Vartam Prachasi Kopi Nagehe. So long as a person has strengthened his body to create wealth and earn money, his family gives him affection and asks him to do things for them. But when his body becomes old and infirm, and his strength to earn money and to give others happiness finishes, then nobody at home cares to even have a word with him and ask him how he or she feels. There are so many sayings that are worth thinking about. Another is, Patni juve lavote ane ma juve avdo. The wife sees him as one who brings, and the mother sees him as one who comes. While he keeps bringing, then he has value. I do not feel as if this has insulted the wife. The reason for this is that the wife also becomes a mother. Why does the wife look at how much the husband brings? This is because she has lifted the responsibility to look after the husband and to look after the family. And because she has to look after all of these things, how can this wife alone do all of this when the husband is not bringing anything? This is not a means of looking down at the wife. This is because it is said in Sanskrit that Grohinam Gruhya Muchite. The wife herself is the home. That is why the wife is also called the Garbhari of the house in Indian languages. But God is the only one home. Devotees sit in front of God and say that, Lord, nobody in the world keeps me. And why do they not keep me? Because we have all left our homes. Sthana Bhashante Shobante Danta Kesha Naka Naraya. 4 things are only beautiful when they're in their places. And when they move away from their places, then they have no beauty. What are these 4 things? They're only beautiful when they're in their places. And when they move away from their places, then they lose their beauty. What are these things? Okay, I'll tell you. They are teeth, hairs, nails, and also humans. When teeth are in their places, then they may have beauty, and when teeth are firmly in the mouth, then the person brushes them every day for 2 or 3 times a day, looks after them and does so much for them. If they hurt even a little, then he reaches the dentist. But when these teeth leave their places, then does anybody look after them? When teeth leave their places, then people pick them up and throw them onto the roofs. This is because they have left their positions. When hair is in its place, then how much do people look after them? People shampoo them and comb their hair so many times throughout the day. People go to the saloons and their hair parlors and do perms and things like that. They say that the hair should be done in a certain way, and people color their hair in different in colors. People do all of these things while their hairs are in their places. But when those hairs move from their places and fall out, does anybody shampoo them? Does anybody collect them and say, these are my hairs? People put them to one side. People never take them when they fall out. When they go and fall out of their places, then people throw them away. When nails are in their places, then they're given so much importance. People shape them and they polish them. People do so many things for them. But when they go from their places, then they get thrown away. Great speakers also say that when humans move out of their places, then they also do not look beautiful. While they are in their places, then they have a lot of importance. The well-respected person is now no longer respected. When somebody is in a government job and has a position like a collector in India, then while they are in their seat, and whenever people walk past him, then they say, hello sir, how are you sir, good morning sir. They say, sir, sir, sir. But when he retires at the age of 60, on the 31st of January and goes to the market on 1st February, then when he goes out with his bag, and nobody even asks him about his feelings. This is because he has no value now he has left. He has moved out of his seat. The devotee says to God that, Lord, when I get bad treatment from all these people in life, then I have to work hard to get help from people and to get respect from people. What is the reason behind this? There is only one reason behind this. Lord, I have left my place. What is my true place? Lord, my place is only one, and that is your lap. You are the supreme resting place of the universe, and you are the supreme goal. When I sit in your lap, God, then nobody can say anything to me. When the child sits in the mother's lap, then the child is the king of the world. But when the child climbs down from the mother's lap, then all the difficulties start. Just see that while we're sitting in the lap, then were there any worries for us? But when we climbed out of the lap, then all the worries started and all the hassles started. Just like this is true from the material world and everyday perspective, that the child which climbs out of its mother's lap has all the worries in the world, in the same way from a spiritual perspective, a human being who has climbed down from the lap of the Supreme Soul has to go through all the vyadi, adi and upadi. Vyadi meaning suffering due to the absence of something, adi meaning bodily sickness, and upadi meaning suffering due to the presence of something. These are the three sorrows of the material world. Vyadi, adi, upadi. The devotee says to the God that, Lord, I will decide that you are my supreme goal. Arjun says to God that, Lord, you are my supreme goal. 12th, Arjun says that the Supreme Soul, this whole universe is pervaded by the Supreme Soul. Arjun tells the Supreme Soul that, Lord, this whole universe is pervaded by you. 13th, Arjun addresses the Supreme Soul as Ananta Rupa, one of infinite form, meaning one whose form has no end. Ananta na vidite yava rupanam. End of verse.